Hey everyone, Nubkeks here. Let's wrap up all the Heroes of the Storm news out of BlizzCon this year in this video. A couple of reworks for heroes, plus the 2019 gameplay updates that are coming to the game real soon. Okay, so we actually had 2 hero reworks announced at this year at BlizzCon, probably coming sometime around December. First one is Stitches. So this is pretty exciting. So hopefully what they'll do with this rework is, refresh some of those talents, because his talent tree obviously isn't fantastic, and kind of emphasize his position as a main tank in that role. I think it'll be an interesting example for the future, interesting insight into how Blizzard is going to rework and rebalance heroes, considering that new role system as well. So will we see stuff to really differentiate tank Stitches from that more damage-oriented sort of build that you might associate more with bruisers? Should be cool to see. The main thing that we know about this rework is that the hook is going to remain a central part of Stitch's kit, which I think is appropriate because it's the most interesting part of Stitch's kit. So yes, the hook is here, and Blizzard likes it, and yeah, there you go, Stitch's rework. Sounds cool. The second rework coming up then might be a bit more substantial, is the Sylvanas rework. So again, this one, really happy to see it. Sylvanas has been very much so in a placeholder sort of situation for a while. They nerfed her black arrows to stop her abilities applying it, but didn't really give her many buffs to make up for it. And they said pretty much very clearly in those patch notes that yes, this is a placeholder. We want to come back and take a new look at Sylvanas in the future, considering how they've changed, the laning and ammo last year and all the rest. So essentially this rework will fit Sylvanas into this new mold for the game. And they also did hint that in terms of her trait, that they really like the idea of it and the unique gameplay style. They mentioned, though, they sort of hinted that it might become an active ability with a cooldown, so that they can kind of increase the power of it within that cooldown, within that window, because it's only up for a specific duration, but then also add counterplay to it. So in my opinion, I suspect this is gonna piss off Sylvanas mains, because that's what always happens when you change a hero substantially, even if it's for the better. Tyrande. But yeah, we haven't seen Sylvanas like in much high level play at all recently, so this will hopefully bring her back, make her a little bit more fair, make her a less cheesy hero that's gonna feast or famine too. I think that sounds good. And like I said, she's been kind of placeholder status for the last good chunk of time. So good to see her finally get some time to shine, especially considering, World of Warcraft BFA, and seeing as she's like the main character there essentially. So yeah, good stuff for her. Okay, let's talk about probably the biggest and arguably the most controversial change out of all of these, which are the changes to experience. These changes are as follows. Number 1, removing all experience earned from destroying forts or keeps. Number 2, decreasing experience earned from destroying towers by half, increasing passive experience gain by 15%, and doubling the experience gain from defeating mercenaries, that is, fighting them in their camps and capturing them, and then also awarding defeating laning mercenaries with all of the capturing mercenaries experience. In short, when you defeat and capture a merc camp in the jungle, you're going to get twice as much experience as you did before, and then when you defeat that mercenary that's pushing your lane, you're going to get all of the experience that the team who captured it got as well. On top of this, we've got some changes to catapults. So when you destroy a fort, you're now going to get a catapult in that lane every 3rd minion wave. When you destroy a keep, it's going to be exactly the same as it is now. You're going to get a catapult with every single wave. And pretty interesting here, they're going to introduce new scaling for the catapults. So they're going to start fairly weak at the start of the game, and then the area of their attack, the splash range, their attack range, their damage, their health are all going to increase as the game progresses. So yeah, what do we make of these changes? Well, to be honest, initial reaction for me was definitely kind of negative, but I've kind of changed my mind on it. I'm looking at them now, and I think it could actually be pretty damn good. I'll explain why in a second. For me, though, of course, I say this with everything. I love it when people ask me, well, how good is this? Specifically, exactly how good is this hero you played on the PTR? And I go, well, I don't know exactly how much specifically, because it's very important to temper your initial impressions with actual playtime. Number 1 on the PTR, and then number 2 on actual live servers. And then I will, of course, as always, keep giving feedback on those things as I experience each stage of that. And Blizzard will hopefully make changes if changes are needed. So yeah, let's dive into it and why I think this might actually be pretty good. So essentially the overall idea with this, which Blizzard has said themselves, is to remove the power advantage they give to winning teams and to give them a strategic advantage instead. But yeah, the biggest thing for me was I sat down and I said, okay, well, what do I think of experience in the game in general? Like, is there anything that really frustrates me? And I said, well, yes, there absolutely is. Because I've seen this many, many times across all game modes, but certainly in ranked is probably where it's the most frustrating. Which is, I hate this so much, right? It's the level 13 to level 16 situation. It's awful. It sucks. Because when you're losing the game, you're level 13, the enemy team's level 16, you go, okay, we just got our level 13 talent here. We're not going to be able to do anything for another 3 levels, right? Because the enemy team is level 16, plus all those levels of scaling. It's just impossible for us to do anything on the map. So I guess the enemy team's just going to get all of the map objectives, get all the mercenaries, get all the bosses, push everything in. We've got to try survive. We'll probably hit level 16 around the time they're hitting level 19, and then we've got maybe a level to try to do something. Whilst being at a massive disadvantage, all of our stuff is destroyed. We've got 3 levels of scaling to deal with. And because if we don't do anything, the enemy team will hit level 20, and then they're going to get an objective and win the game anyway. That just, for me, is insanely frustrating. I hate that. I hate being on both sides of that experience, because the experience is terrible. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I really hate 3-level leads, or even bigger than 3-level leads. We have some of them too. I think, the last gameplay video I put up, we had a bigger than 3-level lead, and it's just a stomp. It's just, there's no real gameplay going on there anymore. In my opinion, the biggest level lead should be 2 levels. That's what I think. Now, I don't know if that's how it's going to work out, because I haven't got to play this. So I don't know. And I don't know if that's Blizzard's goal at all. But in my opinion, from my perspective, that ought to be the goal. I think a 2-level lead is substantial enough that it's noticeable. I mean, your team is doing, you get 4% typically. It varies a little bit sometimes. There's some weird cases, but generally speaking, you get 4% more powerful with every level. So when you're 2 levels ahead, you're 8%. You've got 8% more HP. You've got 8% more mana, more HP, more mana regen. You're doing 8% more damage. You're doing 8% more healing. All that sort of stuff adds up. It's a pretty noticeable lead. On top of that, just in terms of how talent tiers work, the mid game is where structures are getting destroyed, where the objectives have scaled up, generally speaking. And this is where those previous big level leads from destroying structures were. And that's where you get into the situation of, 10 to 13, even 9 to 12, 10 to 13, 13 to 16. I think a 2-level lead, way better. So, okay. Enemy team is level 12. Well, we're level 10. Well, great. We're on even talent tiers. Yes, they've got a big advantage because they're 2 levels ahead, and it's noticeable. But we have a level here where we're on equal talents, so maybe we can make something happen. Okay, the enemy team is level 13. Well, we got to play a little bit passive. We're level 11. We got to play a bit more passively and carefully for a while. But level 13 is within reach. Once we hit level 13, the most they can realistically be is 15. So again, we've got another opportunity there to actually make something happen. Again, we're still at a noticeable disadvantage, but at least we have a bloody chance. And then same thing, like 16, we get level 16. They're level 18. They're going to get level 20 first, but at least we've got 2 levels to actually make something happen. And, bear in mind, you are still playing from behind in terms of your scaling. You're also still going to be playing from behind because, well, how do they get multiple levels ahead? By winning the game. So they've destroyed your structures, they've pushed you in, maybe your keeps are down by that stage. You're still at a big disadvantage. So yes, in my opinion, that is what it should be. I think 2 levels is plenty. It gives plenty of opportunity for comeback. It also gives plenty of opportunity for teams to feel like they're ahead. So that is the goal I would want them to push. We'll see. That's my feedback though so far. In terms of the actual experience changes that are going in here then, I think that it does make sense. I guess the one thing I'm a little bit wary of is that it's a little unintuitive, I guess, that you get experience from destroying towers, but you don't get experience from destroying forts or keeps. The way it is in the game at the moment, typically a fort or a keep is worth twice as much as its attendant towers. And that's kind of intuitive. So I guess this change is not, but I mean, if you add some like fancy visuals to let you know that you're spawning catapults, if they make it kind of obvious and feel good in the game, I guess that kind of overcomes that downside for the most part, realistically. And I do think it was good. I thought, well, maybe just remove experience from destroying towers at all, but that is still there so that the winning team does have some extra ways, like getting an objective and pushing with an objective isn't just a straight up loss to a team that's soaking minion waves. Because you are still going to get experience from destroying those towers. They could even potentially crank up the experience from taking an objective if that's needed. I don't know, haven't got to play it yet. In terms of the catapults, I also think that's pretty cool. Every third minion wave is not that big of a deal. I don't know how often the minion waves are. I feel like it's once every 20 or 30 seconds though. They're not that frequent. So, I mean, realistically, you're getting a catapult every, minute or two. It's not that often, but it's still something. it's still noticeable, and perhaps it could set up some cool timing plays, some cool rotational plays, syncing up merc camps or something with that. So yeah, I think it's nice, and excited to see that in game. All right, let's talk about the armor revamp. I think this also looks really cool as well, just making things a lot more clear and removing a lot of the unintuitive stuff, which I think is great. First things first, there's now a new graphic which will display exactly how much armor a hero has, how long it's going to last, whether it is physical, magical, or just general armor. So all that stuff is much more visible, which is great. I mean, I thought it was really bad when we had heroes that had like 10 hidden spell armor or 10 hidden physical armor that you kind of never knew about. That was just that wasn't good. It's too opaque. So I think this is a really good change. On top of that, there's new rules for stacking armor. Essentially, it's going to be the same as movement speed, where you'll only get the highest bonus you have. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to pull out some hypothetical numbers to make it more obvious, but let's say you are hero X, you press your W ability, you gain 25 armor. If then one of your other heroes attempts to give you 15 armor on top of that, well, it's not going to stack anymore. 25 is the highest, so you're going to have 25. It's just more simple. It's more straightforward. It removes some kind of silly strategies. So yeah, it just makes that counterplay to people with armor easier, and it also makes gaining armor feel more impactful as well. So yeah, big thumbs up for this change. Final thing to cover then is that stim packs are being changed to boosts, which I think, as far as I know, are essentially the same, but on top of this, the boost will also give everyone else in the game a 5% experience bonus. So yeah, that seems pretty nice. I mean, it's kind of just a win-win, right? You're getting more XP in your games. There's also a bigger incentive for people to buy boosts, which, I mean, is no money out of your pocket, right? You're just getting free XP if other people have boosts. People are more likely to buy boosts, so you're gonna get even more XP. Blizzard will get more money, so they can put more money into the game. So yeah, this is just, it's a nice little bonus that increases the, the fun for everyone, I guess. So yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know. I think it looks pretty good on the whole. Actually, I'm pretty happy with this stuff. I think, the Sylvanas and Stitches reworks are cool. I think the experience changes, while they sound dramatic at first, are actually gonna be excellent. Same thing with the catapults. That seems like a pretty fun gameplay thing to introduce. The armor changes are obviously great, and the boost thing is just a nice little bonus. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time for more. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.